Welcome back, guys, to another video, another week. Honestly, this past weekend was very hard. If you guys didn't see my last video, I'm basically trying to do a challenge to push myself to work 10 hours a day for the rest of the month. And I knew going into it that the weekends were going to be the hardest because there's just, when you split up your day with like a day job, 10 hours to do day job and whatever else you're working on, you get like that change of scenery. Like, you're not stuck on one specific thing for 10 hours straight. I knew the weekends were going to be a little tougher. Saturday wasn't too bad. It was still, not great. But Sunday was honestly not that productive. I tried, but a lot of the time on Sunday was like a lot of wasted time, honestly. So it's Tuesday today, and we're at like almost 4 hours so far. So it's the middle of the day, and yeah. So there is a lot of updates though, which is the good thing about this, because you get to a point where you're spending so much time on things where you have nothing to do except get things done. So even when you don't want to do the work, you just end up saying, okay, well, I still have 3 hours today. I may as well just do the work anyways. So that's the first thing I've noticed, is that I'm producing a lot more, obviously, because of how much time I'm putting into it. But at the same time, the quality of work arguably isn't as high as it could be. And that's obviously just down to just being tired, honestly, because I'm waking up early to get the gym in. But when I go to sleep, I usually finish working around like 8:30 to 9. But then and this is obviously my own fault, but whenever I'm done working, I just want to go on my phone for like an hour. But sometimes it ends up being like 2 hours and just in bed. And so I end up staying up later than I want. And then I wake up even more tired, and then I'm just tired through the day. So that's probably the hardest part, is when you are working and you actually are sticking to working until like the end of the day, I can't fall asleep right away. Like, not only is your brain kind of going faster, but at the same time, I just don't want the day to end yet, So, and then to do it all over again the next day. So yeah, yesterday was 10 hours. Yeah, honestly, yesterday wasn't even a good day. I think I was productive up until like this last hour. And the last hour I think I was honestly on Reddit a bit there, not gonna lie. But then, yes, this is what today's looking like. I'm hoping with this challenge, the longer I do it, my focus improves, and I can already feel that it is. Like I said, when your goal is to work for like X amount of hours, when you're feeling like you don't want to work, but the reality is you have so many more hours left to hit, you just end up doing the work anyways, because like, what else are you gonna do? So like it's getting better a little bit, but at the same time, I'm hoping by the end of this that it is a lot better. But I am realizing when I see like 2 hours, 3 hours now, like, that seems like nothing. Like, I'm thinking that before 2 to 3 hours was like a decent chunk of time, but now 2 to 3 hours, like, it's not daunting anymore to work that long. Like, that's not that bad at all. But I really can't wait until I don't have to do this anymore. But I think it's been good to push myself. And like I said in the last video, you do start feeling fulfilled when you are trying to, like, when you're pushing yourself to like your max. There is a sense of fulfillment that comes with that, where you actually feel like, oh wow, I'm actually giving my 100% effort, and there's no doubt of that because it's pushing your limit every single day, right? So as far as app updates go, I'm gonna move this over 1 second. This glare is kind of bad. Glare is kind of bad also over here. But so this is the roadmap page. I'm still doing styling fixes to this, but basically the whole idea of this is, I don't have the individual space pages built out yet, but when you go to the feed here has all of the different spaces, right? Just a collection of the most recent or most popular, whatever. But then the individual spaces, like I said, they're not done yet, but it's going to be something similar to this, but just for that one space. And then the roadmap is going to be, which when you create your space, you get to choose if you want to send the posts to the roadmap or not. So you can have more general ones that don't get put on the roadmap, but also, which would be handy, is say you're having just random discussions in general or support or something, you can just convert that into a roadmap post no matter what it is, and it will send it to here. So you don't have to keep creating new things. Like, you can just send it right to the roadmap and keep everything organized. So yeah, that's the goal for this. But like I said, still doing some styling updates to this. And I want to be able to, like, when you click on it, it opens a modal, because I think when you're working on a board, a modal is just better user experience. But then the other thing that I was doing was setting up this, so that there's just a small rich text editor, just using TipTap, but setting up the comments. So the comments all work now. You can delete them too and everything like that. You can't edit yet, but You can thumbs up, thumbs down, comments, reply. I think I have to do still some anonymous testing for that because I don't want anonymous to be able to upvote and downvote. I just want it to bring you to the sign in or prompt you to sign in or something like that. But yeah, that honestly, that took a really long time for no reason at all. Like the text editor wasn't even that bad, but there was just more logic to do with like the upvote or the liking. Like my brain was so fried trying to do this liking, like something so simple, like and dislike. I was so stuck on this because this was confusing me. Say like no one liked this post yet or this comment yet, right? Say if I like it, it goes to 1. But then when I dislike it, it goes to -1. My brain couldn't wrap my head around how that was supposed to work because I had it set up initially, but then I was like, why isn't it going to 0? And for so long I was stuck on trying to like wrap my head around that logic of why that wasn't working. And it was working. It's just that when I'm removing my like and making it a dislike, so it goes -1. So yeah, that was a massive waste of time. But that's probably a prime example of, yeah, on paper, there's a lot of hours going into it. But when your brain is just not even working properly, like that's the quality of hours you're getting, which arguably isn't that productive. So it's going to be interesting to see at the end of this how much I really think is worth doing, right? But yeah, other than that, the progress honestly has been going really great. I think next on the list we have a couple user management things, which would be kind of cool. The space pages, which will be pretty quick. That should honestly be not too bad at all. The roadmap page, of course, finish that up. And then, yeah, user management things. So I'm going to have to handle when you can join a project, you can invite people to projects, and I think, yeah, permissions as well. So I might have to do like the whole admins, like setting people as admins, giving them certain permissions, which I already have the role of security set up for, I think, on most tables. So hopefully that doesn't take too much time. But yeah, like I was saying in like a couple videos ago, I think a good chunk of this work will be permissions and making sure everything works properly on that front, because there's just so many permissions to include. But yeah, today, the main goal for today is obviously finish the workday and then get the roadmap pretty much wrapped up. All right, guys, welcome back. It is Wednesday, just about 1:42 right now. We have 5.5 hours into the day so far. Yesterday was decent. It was more productive than the Monday night, but yesterday, yeah, I guess yesterday wasn't actually too bad at all. I was able to focus for a good amount of time. But the main updates are I was doing some bug fixes with I guess incognito browsers, since they don't handle cookies. Like it was just giving me an error for fetching the post. So I fixed that up, and then I did this roadmap page just out of the filters. Well, this was pretty much already done, but I just had added the filters and then added a loading animation. And then now they actually update. Or no, that's the other thing, I forgot. I have permissions on this, so since I'm not signed in, you obviously can't drag on the roadmap. But then when you are signed in, it lets you, and then if you're an admin or owner, and then there's just, that actually updates the database. That's pretty much what I got done last night. And then I started doing this modal. I had something in here, but I removed it because it looked pretty bad, but that's kind of the plan. The plan for today is we'll finish up that roadmap modal, which I don't know if I'm gonna get to because I wanna test some comments. I think there was an issue, or at least I didn't even try commenting anonymously yet. So I wanna get that done, make sure that's working properly. And then the next thing is for anonymous users, when they try to like or dislike a comment, I want to prompt them to sign in or sign up, just because I'm not handling anonymous liking and disliking, which I think makes sense. I probably could have done that with upvoting as well, but well, it is what it is. But yeah, then the roadmap modal, if I get to it. But just an update so far of how the challenge is going. I think it's going well. Like I said, yesterday was definitely better than the Monday. I can feel like productive wise, it's getting better. My focus for shorter periods of time are getting better as well, or slowly longer periods of time are getting better. And I was just saying to myself too that I think even if this is not on paper the best way to go about getting things done, I think just the discipline act of it is good to have. Every single night, I'm just usually tired and I don't want to keep working. I want to just go to sleep or something, or just honestly relax, do something else, anything else. What ends up happening is obviously, nowhere near the 10 hours. So you have to literally force yourself to keep doing it. And the fact that I mentioned it on YouTube, if I wasn't recording YouTube videos, 100% I would have just skipped it, 100%. But the fact that it's out in the universe now, like people are watching this, and I said I was going to do it, so now it's like it's more accountability to actually stick to it. So for that part, you know, like just reinforcing the discipline, I think is like, you can't really go wrong with that. But I also think, and I said this, I think earlier on in this video, if the tasks were more split up, like once like marketing starts, you know, there's going to be marketing tasks to do. There's going to be more work maybe on like responding to emails, customer support things. When that just starts diversifying a bit, it'll be much easier to get a lot done in one day. But if you code for a day job and then your job, or when you're building this project, when it is just at the beginning where you have to just be coding it, it's a lot of repetition. And especially if you are learning a lot as you go, it's going to be really hard to be like 100% turned on to code for like that many hours in a single day. Like I said, it probably differs for everyone, but I think even like your excitement for the project, it's really hard to keep going just because you're just using your brain power for a very long time each and every day. I don't think it's impossible, but it just makes it harder. Like I think it'd be much, much easier, and honestly, not much of a challenge. Like the whole point of the challenge is to make it hard, but if it was split up more, even like design related stuff, I think time goes, and it's just different when you're solving technical problems and like thinking harder. It's a lot different than more lightweight tasks that you can throw in, right? All right, so we're about to get the last 2 hours or so of work for the day job in, and then hit a quick run. Only 2 miles, so it's gonna be pretty quick today, and then hop it right into I think it'll work out to be like three hours ish, 3.5 to 4, maybe 3.5 hours of work to get done on the comment stuff, the roadmap tab, the roadmap modal, and then yeah, so we'll see what happens. Just before 6 p.m. Probably gonna get something to eat in like 30 minutes or so. The night's going great, like making good progress. Pretty much right now what I'm stuck on is, not really stuck on, kind of stuck on, is I'm making that modal. When you click here, this modal pops up. And this would work fine if I just redirected the auth page, like it'd be perfect. But what I want to do, because I think it'd just be great user experience. So like, for example, see my URL here, like I'm at the project, and then the exact post I'm at, I think it'd be great to be able to just log in and get immediately redirected to whatever path you're on. And it's gonna have to work for multiple paths because this is just the post one, but like for the spaces, like the path might be different depending where you are. So I wanna make it kind of modular like that. So I kind of got it started to like at least send everything to the URL so that when you do go to click login with email, the URL is like exactly what it needs. And now I'm just working on decoding that and then properly getting the logic set up that when you actually log in, it will redirect you to the same spot. So I think there's like hour and 40 minutes or something left until the 10 hours are done. I don't know if I'm going to go beyond that because I know it's going to be my first 7:30 finish. Literally the last week it was all 8:39 p.m. every single night. So I'll be able to actually get some proper sleep tonight, which would be great. But I don't know if I'm going to go over or not. I might go over a little bit, but I think it'd be just so nice to wrap this up. And then I also found out a problem with the form where when I click enter, it just submits the continuous Google. I mean, that's an easy fix, but just kind of annoying. And then I probably should get this working with Zod as well. So, and same with the sign up. So yeah, this is kind of things that I didn't really plan to have to do, but I may as well do it if I'm already kind of working on it. So just like that, more snow. Let's go. It's exactly what we needed. All right, guys, it's currently just after 9 a.m. Thursday. Again, crazy, another Thursday. Like, it's insane how fast the weeks are going, and it feels like they just keep going faster and faster every single week. It was just last Thursday where I was making the clip saying, okay, I'm going to edit the clips for the next or for tomorrow and upload it. But here we are, another Thursday. To be honest, today is just one of those days where I don't want to do anything. And it happened to me a couple weeks ago where I just wanted to lay lay down and not do anything. I think I even mentioned it in one of these videos. But today is definitely one of those days where I just don't want to do anything at all. I don't want to work. Even the working on my own project doesn't even sound too exciting. But I think like whenever you get like this, or whenever you have a feeling of like you just don't want to do anything, like I don't even know what I want to do, but I just don't want to do anything. Like it's such a weird feeling to feel. But I think when you do, and whenever I feel like this, I always just make sure that I actually just do something. And I've probably talked about this a million times, but usually what helps you get out of this kind of state is just by doing something, and then afterwards you get that dopamine from like, oh, it wasn't so bad, and then it kind of carries on throughout the day. But in one of the books I was reading, like the reality transurfing book, it was talking a lot about like if your goals are really your own, or if they're influenced by like external things like people or just like things you see online, or if it's just not an authentic goal. And I think like the end goal for myself is authentic, like it is what I want. I think a lot of people want, to not have to stress about money, to be in a position where they don't have to work for anyone else. They can, sustain themselves and work on something that's actually fulfilling to them, that actually is exciting, that actually kind of you want to wake up in the morning, like having that reason behind it, like kind of having a purpose. And if you don't want to be an employee, like having a boss, like, because I personally don't. So I think those are all authentic goals. But then he was talking about in the book about, there's goals and then there's doors to get to that goal. And there's tons of doors. No matter what your goal are, there's tons of doors to get to that goal. But some doors will be more authentic than other doors. And it's easy to find, like, he was calling them foreign doors. And basically, it just got me reflecting a bit. And I don't want to think too hard on this, because I think the harder you think about it, the more complicated it gets. But he was basically saying, if you have to convince yourself that this is a goal for you, then it isn't. And if you're doing too much thinking on it and trying to persuade yourself, like if the goal is truly for you, it just comes naturally. Like you don't have to think about it. It's just, you just know, like it's just a feeling you just had, like you just know. But it got me thinking that now, like, I know the goal is good. Like I'm fine with the goal, but now it's like the door, right? Which is the vehicle in business terms. Like that's the business model, whatever you're doing for like the vehicle to get to that goal. And that was where I was reflecting on that. I don't know if it is like 100% for me. And the only reason I think that and why I'm reflecting on this is because, like, dips of motivation are going to happen no matter what you're doing, like even if you are really passionate about it. But what I was comparing it to was when I think back, so I used to be like huge into video games, like Call of Duty, like tournaments, like wagers, like I'd be pretty big into the competitive scene of that. And then it went into Fortnite, and then I was doing like competitive, almost signed a pro contract for Fortnite. So I was really into, I would have signed the contract, but I was 17 and my mom wouldn't let me because I had to travel. That's a story for another video, but I was really into video games, like just so obsessed. Like that's all I wanted to do, like truly passionate about it. You can call it an addiction, whatever, but just truly, truly passionate about it. And there was nothing else. I would wake up, even if I would get sick of it, like before I go to bed, I'd wake up with just like a drive of like a fire. Like I gotta keep getting better at this game. Like I know it's part of it being young, you don't have any other responsibilities. You can just spend as much time as you want playing video games. But back when I was playing, like all I wanted to do was improve, get better. Like the competitiveness of being in like tournaments and like when you're about to be eliminated, or like just anything like that with money on the line, and you just want to keep getting better. Like I just missed that drive. But comparing that to like how I feel like building products or software products, like of course I think it's a great business model, but I'm worried I'm like into it because it's a good business model, right? Like I think I do enjoy building out my own ideas and building out my own projects, but I know for a fact that level of passion and drive that I had for playing video games, it's nowhere near like that. It's not even close. Like the fact that I would wake up and maybe you guys can relate to this too, and maybe I'm chasing something that doesn't even exist, but the fact that I would wake up and be so driven to just hop on the game and grind, you'd have your teammates to practice with, and always looking for opportunities to improve on that front. And like I just had such a passion for it that I didn't even care if I got paid for it. I just loved it, right? And but obviously, you get older, things change. Like I kind of had to university, I stopped doing that, right? But even comparing it to other things, like just things where, you know, you'll get so into a flow state where you just don't even realize the time passes. A good example of this for me is playing basketball with my friends. Like sometimes we'll rent a court and just play basketball. Like the fastest 2 hours of my life. Like we usually rent the court for 2 hours. Those 2 hours, I don't think about anything except like I'm so present playing basketball, and the time just flies. So that's a great example of flow state. And then even like I don't make good music, but like I got into that last year just as a hobby, just making EDM music. But that's just something that I just do because I enjoy it. It's fun. I don't expect anything to come out of it, and yeah, go like you can just start it. Time just passes, right? And the same thing with making YouTube videos. I found like I've always wanted to make YouTube videos, and the same kind of thing where I don't think about time when I'm making YouTube videos. The thing though is that especially now more so that I'm actually tracking the 10 hours. When I'm coding, like, yeah, sometimes, you know, I can slip into, it depends what I'm working on, but sometimes I can slip into that flow state where things are just clicking and things feel great. And it does feel really good to like when you're stuck on something for a long time and then you figure it out, and then like just that reward of figuring it out finally, like that feels really great. But just comparing it to like the other things, it's not on the same level. So it got me thinking like, should I be chasing something that does feel on the same level? Because sometimes it does feel like a chore having to, you know, work on whether it's my job, whether it's the projects I'm working on. Like it does sometimes feel like a chore to work on them. I don't know if it's because I just am too burnt out of it, but then again, it's like it hasn't even been that long to be burnt out of something, especially like if you're in it for the business side of things. You're gonna have to have patience to go multiple years without seeing any results. But maybe it's just a completely different game, and that sense of passion and drive that I'm looking for, like comparing to the video games, just doesn't exist in the business sense. But I don't know. It's just something I've been reflecting on recently, because it comes down to, if, let's say I did have that passion, the same exact passion I had for video games, all that, and I had that for this, like if you're going up against someone with that passion, they're gonna smoke you because they want it so much more than you do, even if you think you want it as bad, right? So, like I said, I don't want to think too deep into it, but at the same time, like it is kind of there, and I know, like I can feel it, where it's like, okay, sometimes this actually does feel like a chore. Maybe it's the idea. Maybe if it's a more exciting idea that is more purposeful, like it'd feel more exciting. But even still, for example, like the next task on my list here is to just set up like a login form with Zod, because I just need to set those forms up. Like it's just so tedious, and like I'm not excited by that at all. So maybe it's the project plays a part, but also what you're working on in the project. Like I think there's always going to be features where you're not going to be kind of super excited about building them. It's just going to be tedious and just to get it done sort of thing. So I think that's okay. But I also think, you know, you could have two options, right? Going back to the book with the goals and the doors, you could have, you know, your goal that's true to you, and you could have a door. Maybe the door vehicle isn't right for you. It's still better to go through that and go for it versus to not do anything, right? Because those are your two options. You can do something that you think isn't necessarily like resonates with you fully, or you can just do nothing. But if you're doing something is better than doing nothing, because at least you're still making progress that can lead you to other areas, right? And then that might resonate with you a little bit more. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking about it too much and overthinking it, because like I don't know. But let me know if you guys kind of relate to that, where, you know, in other areas your passion was just through the roof. Like I can't even put into words how passionate I was about video games. Like it's insane. And to think of that with software, like I like it, but the passion is not on the same level at all. And I think a good question too is like thinking, okay, if you didn't have to worry about money, you had everything you wanted, you had your dream life, what would you be doing? And I think I can see myself having a business, but I just don't know exactly what business it would be. I think software SaaS is a great business model to get into, but I don't know. I guess maybe I would still do it depending on the idea for fun. That's the whole reason I got into it to begin with, was because I wanted to just do it for fun. Maybe I'm putting too much pressure on the outcome. Maybe that's where these kind of feelings are coming from. But I also know no matter what business model you start, because I really like business, right? Like I can probably say like I'm passionate about business. I like being able to take an idea, build it into something. It could be something tangible, or it could just be like the fact that you have an idea and you can turn it into something that generates revenue and you can like scale it. Like that is that I'm passionate about that. The vehicle, I'm not so sure, but then again, I don't think there's going to be really many vehicles where you're going to have like you're always going to get to the same state no matter what business model you're in, right? Because everything is difficult, and I think this is kind of where this kind of stems from, is it being difficult. So with the video games, yeah, it was difficult, but like it's not on the same level at all. Maybe to get to the highest level it is, but regardless, it's no matter what business model you choose, you're always going to reach a roadblock where you're going to be kind of in the same state where you're not sure if you should keep going, if you should switch to something else that seems flashier. So it's easier to say now that you're not passionate about something, but I think in the grand scheme of things, it's good to just see it out and kind of keep pushing through it. But I don't know. That's just something that's been on my mind a little bit. Curious to know if you guys have went through something similar. I'm not going to keep this rant or this yap session going on for too long, but yeah, let me know if you guys can relate to that. We'll be interested to seeing what you guys think. So yeah, like I said, it's 9:30. Gonna get something to eat quick and then somehow get through this work day. And then I have to do another run tonight. And then, yeah, I have some more work to do on the project tonight. Just some more to-dos about, getting the thumbnail, record the video clips, and then set up the sign-up forms, and then individual space pages, which shouldn't be too bad. But I honestly really think I can do those. So, yeah. Anyways, we will see you guys in the next update. All right, 6:45. Little status update for the night so far. 8 hours, 51 minutes. Yeah, so almost done, but an hour left. But basically the only things that I pretty much did now was I got all the forms working with Zod now, so that's good. I can forget about that finally. And then just this was a super easy thing. Like, just now these actually point to something. Next, though, is gonna be something big over the weekend. User management, because I still don't have anything to join projects or like manage users. There's nothing in place at all for that, so I have to plan out exactly how I want to handle that, whether it's as simple as a join button, or like I don't know, I can handle it a bunch of ways. But just so you can, like, as the project owner admin, you can see who's joined your project, and then invite admins to it as well, which will be interesting. So those are the last two for this end of this week until Sunday. Honestly, it probably will take as long as Sunday, but hopefully I can finish up early, maybe get a day off. But then I was thinking, I know I said before I wasn't gonna take any days off, so maybe I won't, but at the same time, I did say once I finished the sprints for the week, I could finally have some downtime. But I think the whole point of this challenge is to not have any downtime, so I will probably just pull things for next week. Next week has a lot too: images uploading, private boards, editing the spaces. I wanted also to make icons instead of these little like message things. I want to make it more customizable with like actual emoji icons or something, and then maybe even color. I don't know, just some more customization there. And then, yeah, like I said, private boards, so you can make admin only boards, so like just discussion boards for admins, and then pin up to 2 posts for the feed, because that's something I had here where you can pin posts. Because I was thinking, I mean, you can do it in spaces too, but I'm thinking if you have your homepage, like the feed, it'd be nice to pin like an announcement or something, or just something that's like frequent. And I don't know if I should make it global, like say you pin something on the feed and then it's pinned for every single one, or treat it separately, completely. Like there'd be pinned feed posts, there'd be pinned, pinned for the announcements, pinned for the whatever. Or I guess announcements technically would be, you can't post, but yeah. That's the other thing I also have to work on, is make it, I guess that's private boards though. I guess there's going to be visibility. Like private is in, it won't even be visible, and private is in only certain people can post on it, but you can still see the posts. So I'll have to plan that all out next week as well. So yeah, anyways, gonna end the video here. So as always, appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you guys next week.